So yeah, the marketplace for buying physical 360 titles has all gone a bit Pete Tong. Yeah, and games have ballooned in price. But while owning and holding a physical copy is indeed the ruddy tits, not all of us fancy spending all of our hard-earned bees and honey on games that came out many years ago. So I thought it'd be fun to take a quick look at how you can save yourself some dosh by grabbing the digital versions instead. But, quick side note, you may want to wait until the final store closure sale before picking up anything. If you have the need for speed, but the staggering price of Need for Speed Most Wanted, fucking £55, has made you slam on the brakes and reversed away like Homer fading into the ruddy bushes, well, just steer yourself to the 360 marketplace, as the game is only £1.99, leaving you plenty of change to grab all the game's DLC whilst you're at it.
It's the fastest who gets paid, and it's the fastest who gets laid.
Underatted City of Gangsters is a little bit like Godfather meets XCOM. Not as cool as that sounds though, but hey ho. So if that's tickled your Don-sized pickle, well then the game's on sale right now for just £2.24. I could never get into the game myself, but if it sounds like your plate of spaghetti, then the game also has a ton of expansions to look at. Capiche?
Hey, stop that. That's racist.
Fans of the jiggly parts of the fairest sex would be better off heading to Coventry and getting a special dance for a mere £10 than they would be throwing their cash down on Rumble Roses XX. But if you prefer your butts to be of the polygon variety, well then the game is currently only £11.99 on the store and has a ton of costume themed DLC to check out too. No judgment here.
I am no pervert.
The Earth Defense games really don't have any right to be as good as they are, but even so, spending £32 on Earth Defense 2025 will likely make your skin crawl. However, the game is nested on the marketplace for a much more reasonable $19.99. It's kinda still a hefty price to pay, but trust me, the co-op alien insect murdering base shenanigans of this one is an absolute blast.
I'm doing my part.
The butt on X-Blade's box art makes it a pretty tempting purchase, but the hefty price of £25 will make you say nah, twerk off. However, if a fairly basic DMC-esque hacking and slashing game where you play as a half-naked anime girl makes your pickle blush, well then you should take the digital route, as this one is only £8.99. Whether you like the source material or not, the Fist of the North Star games are absolute gems for the Xbox 360 that can be enjoyed by anyone. But to grab the second title physically is gonna feel like a punch in the gut due to the game being 58 fecking quid. But don't worry about FOMO and the game also being out of stock everywhere, as the game is currently $34.99 on the marketplace, which yeah, again it's a bit steep, but at least you know you won't have to deal with any reseller bellends.
Wankers.
The Iron Sky movie is a schlocky, stupid B-movie, brilliantly hilarious, so bad that they are good flicks that accompany a few cans of the golden nectar perfectly. But the same can't be said about the boring, uninspired video game tie-in. But if you must play everything the 360 has to offer, warts and all, then ignore the hella overpriced physical copy of Iron Sky Invasion that's currently sitting at, I think, 50 quid and is out of stock most places, and instead just barrel roll yourself over to the 360 store where this one will only set you back $19.99. Sega's bestiality simulator known as Sonic 06 isn't exactly the next generation Sonic we kinda wanted. But despite the game being a broken mess, it hasn't stopped the game rising in price, and currently to nab this stain on the Hedgehog's legacy physically is gonna cost you 15 quid. But if you don't want to spend that, yet still want to see how really bad the game is, then you can pick it up on the 360 store for just £3.39.
No, I don't think I will.
To take a trip to the neon-lit, futuristic streets of Neo Paris is gonna cost you £12, which is well worth it, as Remember Me is an absolute hidden gem that has a rich, gripping story, hyper-fluid, oh so satisfying combat, and lots of unique memory-hacking base shenanigan mechanics. But yet you don't see it out in the wild all that often, so I urge you not to forget, but to remember that this beautifully awesome game is currently only £1.49 on the store. Bargain. Another often overlooked 360 title is Fatal Inertia. However, this one is one of the most highly sought after game by collectors, so to grab it physically you're looking to spend well over £50. And yeah, sure, it's a neat little racer and all, and kinda similar to Wipeout, but it's nowhere good enough to justify that steep cost. Luckily, however, if you drift yourself over to the marketplace, you'll find this one for a much more reasonable $14.99.
That's good.
Alice Madness Returns is a beautifully dark, twisted, and mature take on the Alice in Wonderland story that's oozing with style and imagination. Gameplay is also great and mixes combat, puzzles, platforming flawlessly. However, if you're on the fence about this game, well, its £28 price tag isn't likely to help. But you'd be mad as a hatter not to get it off the marketplace for only $14.99. Oh yeah, if you do decide to go down that rabbit hole, well then make sure you grab the game's DLC, which gives you the full, original Alice game for absolutely free.
It's free.
The fact you have to splash a boatload of cash just to see the full ending of Asura's Wrath by grabbing its many DLCs is already enough to make you rage. But yet if you haven't got it yet, you're gonna have to pray to the gods that you can find it and then punch a hole in your bank account to get it. But before you get too angry, just listen to the soothing sounds of all the swipes and input noises of the 360 store, and you'll soon find that this interactive anime goodness is only $14.99. Gun is a great revenge story themed western that did the whole open world 6-shooting, rooting and tooting shenanigans way before Red Dead Redemption came along. Yeah, sure, it may be a bit outdated, but in my opinion it's still worth picking up. However, considering it's basically just a port of the game that released on the OG Xbox, you may not want to sling £20 on the physical copy and instead draw yourself to the marketplace and hogtie this into your collection for just £7.49. Blood Drive is kinda like that old game Carmageddon mixed with twisted metal and a boatload of zombies. So you drive around, run over zombies, and blow up your opponents. It's simple dumb fun, but can be a bit repetitive, so don't stress about letting the physical copy take a bite out of your wallet, and instead just shuffle your way over to the digital version instead, as it's only £4.49.
Yeah, boy!
It's kinda hard to believe that we got not one, but two stealth-themed vampire games, and both of them ended up being absolutely shite. One of them was Vampire Reign, and the other was Dark. And yeah, sure, while the Darkness 2-esque visuals and silly vampire story do have their charms, unfortunately, everything else within this one is a tedious slog. So do not let this one drain your wallet dry by spending £25 on this garbage. And instead, if you really must play it, well, it currently sits in the shadows of the marketplace for just £2.24.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Grey Matter's box art is a little deceiving, as it kinda looks like a mystical magic and card based RPG. But in actuality, it's a eerie, horror-esque point and click adventure that does boast a fantastic story. But the game's a bit clunky when played with a controller, but if you seek this one out, well, firstly, good luck finding it, and if you do stumble across it, it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg. Yet, if you're into these type of games and don't have 40 quid up your sleeve, then just point yourself over to the 360 store and click on this one for the much more affordable $14.99.
Yes.
I actually never knew Birds of Steel existed till I saw it for sale on the Xbox 360. But is it any good? Well, those who like flight sim shooter style games say it's the Gran Turismo of flight simulators? But to anyone who isn't heavily into dogfighting during a wartime setting over and over, well, I don't think this one will tickle your pickle. Either way, if you do want to try it out, it's gonna cost you £30 to get it physically, or, you know, once again, just navigate yourself to the 360 store, where it's currently on sale for just £3.74. Right, that's it for today. I'm sure a bunch of you have already commented down below saying that physical is king, etc, etc, but unfortunately we don't all have the cash or time to waste, and I thought I'd just help out those that just want to play everything the Xbox has to offer and couldn't care about how they do it. This is only part 1 of the list, as there are a lot more savings hidden away on the store, but I'm tired. So until then, as always, you guys stay tipsy.